Good afternoon or good evening, and in some cases, good morning. Let's see if I can remember how all this stuff is supposed to work. Just want to see if my audio is showing up here for just a moment. I'm playing it on the laptop here. It's like a 30-second delay before any of this shows up over there. So I want to make sure I got audio and all that stuff. And I do. All right. Let me turn myself off on that other screen. I don't have to listen to myself talk. All right. Well, good afternoon. It has been a while since I've done any kind of live stream. I'm still pumping out the videos, but haven't done a live stream in a while. Just one of those things where a lot of other things are going on, and I am focusing on family stuff as well as work stuff. So I do the live streams when I can, and I sure do miss them when I don't get to them. So today we're just going to have a discussion. I hope we have some discussions. I'll just talk about some things that have happened. I guess my last stream was about a month ago, actually, September 5th. So a little over a month ago. That's terrible. I like to do them every couple of weeks if I can. So I haven't had a chance. All right. Good morning or good afternoon, Rasby. Welcome. Hi, Todd. Glad you're liking the Frigate content. We're going to talk a little bit about Frigate because today, this morning, the Frigate a new Frigate video. I put up a new Frigate video on the channel, and as I was looking through some videos this morning, some events that occurred around my house, I noticed that I had omitted a whole section. I did omit the video section, but a little thing that I can do, or that people can now do in Frigate in the new UI that I didn't even realize. Good morning, L Strong 2K. Welcome to the afternoon live stream. Can't stick around. Global Variables. Hello, James. Welcome. And I know you say you can't stick around too long. Global Variables. Can you give me an example, James, of what you're trying to do that in? I guess it depends on what thing you're trying to globalize. I'm assuming some sort of configuration. Hi from South America. Hello, NR. And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, Johnny from the across the pond, I believe. I should know that, Johnny. I'm embarrassed that I don't, but yes, I believe you're across the pond. Yeah, James, what are you trying to do specifically? I think in this case, that Home Assistant is such a Swiss Army knife that if you say, can I do X, Y, or Z, you have to be really specific about what it is, and then we can try to give you some help. And if for some reason you have to jump off, James, and we don't answer the question, make sure you get on Discord and bring it up there. You can even do code snippets and things that are a lot better than doing YouTube comments because we can read the code and then we can try to help you there. Hello from the Netherlands, Arjan. All my regulars, I'm glad to see y'all are still around. When I don't do live streams for a long time, I just wonder if people just they leave. So I'm glad to see a lot of y'all still here. Input helpers. Right now I'm storing them input text. Yeah, input helpers. That's same thing there, James. Input helpers, input is you can create an input text. I'm assuming you're trying to look at a status of something long term or whatever, and that's exactly what input helpers are for. Yes, Sweden. That's right, from Sweden. By the way, this is interesting. I was watching the stream fire up on the test computer to make sure. Now I've lost what it was called. Maybe it's this. I hope it's this. No, it's not. It's Span. I was watching a commercial on my feed just a minute ago, and I saw this thing show up, and I thought, man, that's pretty cool. So this is a smart electrical panel that has built-in. I guess it has a built-in app, and you can control all of the breakers from the app, I guess, and it monitors power and does all this stuff. So I bought recently one of those octopus looking things for monitoring all of my circuits in my electrical panel. And I'm going to put it in there and I'll have a video on that. But this looks like it is native. I mean, it monitors everything for you, and you can control everything from it. I just did a really quick check, and I don't know that there's any integration with Home Assistant yet, but if there isn't, and it's one of those situations where Paulus needs to talk to these folks, I think this would be pretty awesome. I don't know how widespread this thing is, and what kind of user base it has, but it's really cool because it really controls, and it says you can look at your solar stuff as well. It's got this whole energy thing, solar in, outputs, and differences and whatnot. So somehow it monitors your solar, and then you can name outlets on here. I don't know. I just did a really quick look. I think it's really kind of cool, and it has battery outage. Oh, that's interesting. Let's see. Outage at night, power your bedrooms. Outage in the morning, power your kitchen. Oh, so you could actually dynamically, oh, well, this is really cool. You could dynamically control what gets backup power depending on the time of day or whatever from this. Again, I know nothing about this. I saw it on a commercial about 3 minutes ago, and I started looking at this, and I think it's kind of awesome because it's a new shiny toy. And I would love to, I'd love to have something like that. So anyway, if this is something that is available in the US, I guess would be another thing. And then in addition, if we could get this integrated to Home Assistant, it's just another option for us to do things with. That looks pretty intense, actually. Anyway, that's not what the content. I find these things, and then I get all excited because this is a new shiny thing. I guess it's available in the US because this New York Times stuff talks about it. All right. Well, anyway, that's fun. Let's see. I'm looking at comments here. They aren't helpers are quite the best. Well, yeah. So James, enjoy the dog walk, but let us know what you're trying to do specifically, because I think there's probably a way to do what you're trying to do. We just need to know specifics. And I say we, all of us that monitor Discord and all that. Someone probably knows what to do. What are the 400 numbers? Phone extensions? Oh, you're looking at my dashboard. Yes, these are my, let me turn on my mouse thingy. These are my phone extensions in my PBX in the house. And I just, whenever they're, it's just, again, something else. I tied free PBX to Home Assistant, and I just monitor the state of these. They don't really, it's more for fun, but if someone leaves a phone off hook, or if I'm trying to get a hold of somebody and I realize they're on the phone already, then I know I don't have to worry about, I know why they're not responding. So yes. And to answer your question with a long answer, Kenny, yes, there are phone extensions in my free PBX setup. And those of you that are ham radio operators on here, I had my first foray into AllStar. I set up an AllStar node using a Raspberry Pi, and I actually have it connected as an extension. It's not listed here. That would be kind of cool, actually. Well, I'd have to connect it to the AllStar PBX. So I'm running AllStar is basically a repeater controller, or a controller that allows you to talk on the radio or a phone or something else, and connect to different radios and repeaters all over the world, digitally, or over the internet, or over some sort of IP network. And it uses Asterisk as its kind of its part of its engine. So I'm running an Asterisk server on a Raspberry Pi, and I'm doing all this stuff. So I did that recently, where I connected my phone. I have well, you can look at the review. I have a Flying Voice phone they sent, and I have it connected to my home PBX, and then also to my Asterisk, not my Asterisk, my AllStar node. So I can talk on the radio with my phone. It's really crazy. All right, here. I have met with the SPAN team. Oh, hey, Todd. It says, I have met with the SPAN team. It is available now in the US. They just came out with a new version that is about half the original price. I think they go for about $2,500. Yeah, and the thing about it is, that is one of those things that I'm comfortable setting up a lot of these monitoring things and plugging in, clips for monitoring power on my current power panels and things. But if you're going to replace your load center, or your power panel or whatever you want to call it with something like span, you're going to have to hire an electrician, because that is not something I'm comfortable doing. Hey, Bearded. I didn't know you watched my stuff. Welcome. And by the way, congratulations. I was watching your climb there the last couple of days to 5K. So congratulations. Let's see here. Let's just look over here. I'm gonna stalk somebody here. If you haven't heard of Bearded Tinkerer, if you haven't heard of Bearded Tinkerer, then you should. He makes all kinds of cool videos. Wait, it wasn't Bearded Tinkerer. You're the one that you retweeted somebody else's tweet. It was who was it? Bearded, you have to tell me who it was. But anyway, someone was working on that 5,000 subscriber number for YouTube. But here's Bearded's channel. He does a bunch of cool stuff. So if you're not a subscriber, make sure you subscribe to his channel as well. And there's a number of us that are in this space that are doing kind of cool things with Home Assistant and home automation and technology in general. So I think you can follow the rabbit trail and find a lot of us kind of in the same genre. So, thanks, Bearded. Appreciate you watching the channel. I feel so honored. All right, so today it's just an opportunity to answer questions and talk about stuff and whatever's on your mind. It was Jeff. Is this Slacker Labs? Tell me who it is, Bearded. Tell me. I feel embarrassed now. I should know this. It's Slacker Labs. See what I mean? There's a lot of us out there. So yes, here we are. So Jeff from Slacker Labs. He also has a great channel. So I really, a lot of us have a different perspective on things, and we may make similar content, but we talk about it differently. We apply it differently. So if you're watching these kinds of things, and I think if any of you have been around long enough, you know that everyone has a little bit different idea and a little bit different take on something. So you learn just a little bit different on each of the videos. But yeah, jump on Jeff's channel as well too, if you aren't a subscriber. All right, let's see here. So it's interesting that span thing is out there. I would like to see some more on that. And I don't know that I could justify replacing my load center in this house. Now, if I'm building a new house, I might start with that. But it is a really cool idea, and I really think it's neat. If I had batteries to come with it for powering my house, I would just do it. You've got the Tesla power walls, and you've got those other things, but it takes... I don't understand the process necessarily with the batteries, but you have to get approval for the solar panels / batteries. My brother tried to do that in the Houston, Texas area, and for whatever reason, it didn't work. They didn't approve it, or he couldn't get it or something. So I'm all for backup power, and I love the idea of something like a Tesla Powerwall or batteries for backup. I don't necessarily like the generator idea, although those will probably run a lot longer on like gas or whatever. But here in Texas, when we had snowpocalypse and the gas prices went through the roof during that period, I don't know that the generator would be worth even running at that point. It's too expensive. All right, so let's see here. Some more comments. You have to have a licensed contractor and get an inspection, and these days it'll be hard unless it's UL certified. So is SPAN not UL certified yet? I would think it would be, but I don't know. We'll have to watch that space. I want to see if that becomes a thing and if it gets integrated, and then I'll watch somebody else's video on how they did it. Because again, I don't know if I could justify to my my family here replacing our entire load center with a thing just because it's cool. If I was able to provide backup power and say, look, we're going to have backup power because I'm doing this, then that would make more sense. All right. Yep. I agree, Bearded. Everyone brings a little bit of a different perspective. All right. Next question here. Does ESP32 only run one thing or can do multiple, like presence detection and temp? Yes, it can do more than one thing. When you say temp, it's all it's doing is the ESP is in the case of the stuff I'm talking about, the little Xiaomi things. If you are reading those, it's just you're just getting data from those. And then the data is being processed as a sensor in Home Assistant. if you have another device that you're using for presence detection and the ESP sees it in the general area, then it should be able to do both. It's just a sensor. And how you set up the sensors in your ESP32 device will determine what they show up as in Home Assistant. And then you take it from there and do your presence detection and whatnot. So they are, yes. And so Johnny's saying, yes, they can do multiple at the same time. So I get that question actually quite a bit on YouTube or on the comments. Can I have more than one temperature sensor on the ESP? The answer is yes. And somebody correct me if I'm wrong about this, but I have read that you can have up to 8 sensors. Now, I don't know why there would be a theoretical maximum unless it's just trying to, the timing and such is just so that it just can't do that many. But I've heard 8 is kind of the maximum for those Xiaomi sensors or temperature sensors. But you can do multiple things at the same time on those. Yes, definitely ESP32s are a Swiss Army knife. I think I've used that twice today. They can do a lot of stuff all at one time. And if you ever look at the ESP32 logs, you'll see that the ESP32s actually see more than what you're showing. And I'm trying to get to those here. Yes, I know I'm not updated to the latest OS. I'm on the latest version of Home Assistant Core, but I'm not on the latest operating system here for the Blue. All right, let me just take this. We're out of the way for a second and see what we have. Fridge temp. How about office node? Let's do this study node. I just want to make sure that I'm not showing any crazy stuff on the stream before. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to see it here, but this is where it's seeing one of my Xiaomi sensors, and it's got the information here. Bind keys random, so don't worry about that in terms of security on the live stream. And you'll see that it found other devices here with different signal levels. So I have more than one sensor, and it's actually seeing those other sensors. The reason it doesn't have any data up here is because I don't have these defined in here. But the point is, these ESPs can see multiple things. And if you have it configured correctly, then you can use it for whatever purpose, presence detection or whatever else. So they just sit here and they just spew out stuff that it sees. All right, let's go back to the home page here. Let's go to my other dashboard. I have this dashboard in the office, and I've probably talked about this before. It runs on a little Samsung Galaxy, or no, a Samsung Tab S or something like that. And I keep that on the desk over here all the time. I have one doing 2 temps and IR blasting. What do you do with the IR blasting, James? What do you use that for? I wonder, oh, I'm looking at my graph over here and I saw a bunch of people drop off, but I think that was incorrect. All right. Hi, Paul. How are you doing today? How are things? We're just kind of chatting about stuff. So what has happened since November the 10th or September the 5th? Man, I got to get my live stream chops back. I can't even talk and think at the same time. Well, we're now on version 10, and I'm sure most of you have already upgraded by now. We're on 10.5, I believe. But I don't do a lot of, hey, here's what's new in Home Assistant, because the Home Assistant team does a good job of that by themselves. They have their own live stream that talks about all of this stuff in depth. If there's something significant, then I will bring it up. I do want to say that Z-Wave has added some stuff that allows the S2 security protocol to work. I don't know that I have anything that actually runs that. I probably do, but I haven't tried it yet. That's significant to me. Tuya is a very significant thing. And if you're following Frank or anyone on Twitter or whatever channels they use, they're talking about, Frank's doing a whole bunch of stuff with Tuya right now. He's got camera support. He's showing he's got some camera support built in with doorbell stuff. When you ring the doorbell, the Tuya stuff is working there. We also have, this is Hacktoberfest. So if you make 4 contributions to any open source project, you get a free t-shirt. So keep that in mind. And I'm just kind of talking through some of this stuff here. Y'all have probably read some of this already. So yeah, Z-Wave is stepping up its game. If you aren't using Z-Wave JS yet, I don't see any reason anymore not to do that. You should be on Z-Wave JS. In fact, they I believe they've built a migration tool to get over to Z-Wave JS. And I had a question the other day. Somebody asked me in YouTube or somewhere. They said, where is my... this is a Frigate thing, by the way. Someone walked in front of my camera as an object detection, and it lights up. That's kind of fun to watch. This is why I keep this on my tablet. If the reason it's so big is if my eyes to the right, my peripheral vision will pick up that big yellow flashing thing, and I'll be able to look over and see what's going on. Anyway, in Z-Wave JS, someone asked me about this interface, or they asked me, where's the interface? With Z-Wave JS, Z-Wave JS to MQTT, if you're running that, what you see here, this is the interface that you're going to get with it. I don't believe there is an actual interface within Z-Wave JS or Home Assistant that you can do some of this. Now, there's a lot of stuff you can do using scripts and whatnot, but this is the dashboard that somebody had asked me about, and you have to be running Z-Wave JS to MQTT in order for you to use this dashboard thing. And you can just go into one of these devices and you can do a lot of stuff to it. Configurations, you can do debugging info, stuff like that. So this is a dashboard that makes Z-Wave JS to MQTT very handy. So that's something that's out. If you're not running Z-Wave JS, do that. I think you should just do it. Make sure. I say stuff like this, and then someone comes back and say, well, you told me to do this thing, and now I broke all my stuff. Well, I recommend you run Z-Wave JS, but if there's a reason you shouldn't do this yet, because you're running very old or legacy stuff or something that just cannot break, make sure you do some sort of testing beforehand. So always my disclaimer, you should probably be running Z-Wave JS, but if you're not, and you have a reason not to do it, or if you're concerned about a super critical thing you're running, make sure you test it first somehow. So there's my spiel on that. So anyway, if I go down, Amber's a cool thing. You've probably heard about this, and if you haven't, you're not in the Home Assistant world deep enough. But this is the Home Assistant Amber. So I'm running the Home Assistant Blue, and that was released a few months ago, and that was the all-in-one. That was the all-in-one Home Assistant device that Home Assistant was selling. It's got a cool Home Assistant logo and everything on it. You probably heard about that. And then comes along this Home Assistant Amber, and I think Home Assistant's trying to push and make Home Assistant more of a consumer-friendly type of thing. And if you buy a Home Assistant Amber, and it was as a campaign on Crowd Supply, and they've far exceeded their goals, so that's cool. They're going to be able to build these things, supply chains notwithstanding. But these things come with gigabit Ethernet. You can buy the optional PoE module for it. It comes with a Zigbee module, and this Zigbee module is Matter compatible. And if you don't know what Matter is, it's what used to be called the chip standard, but Matter is a standard that is supposed to be the building blocks for a lot of different manufacturers. I'm saying this all wrong. These are the Connectivity Standards Alliance. They're trying to build, all these manufacturers and suppliers are trying to build a platform that'll talk to each other. So simplicity, interoperability, and that's the big one. And then security and reliability. It's an open source approach to all these things. You know, we have Zigbee and we have Z-Wave and we have Wi-Fi and all these things. Not everything talks to everything else. So they're trying to fix that with this here. And I was looking for, so here's companies part of the alliance. All these companies here are in the alliance. Is this interesting to see too? I think they were there already, but I didn't notice that. So all of these are going to come together, or they're coming together to build a standard that if you plug something in, regardless of what you're running hub-wise or connection-wise, you should be able to talk to it to make it truly a smart home or a smart IoT platform. Right now, we have so many things all scattered all over the place. It could be overwhelming sometimes. So if we look at this, that's what this means when it's Matter compatible. As they upgrade, or as they make the Matter standard or build it and make it more of, as they evolve it, supposedly you're going to be able to upgrade this module to be to the latest standard, whatever that Matter standard is going to be. They'll be able to upgrade that. So anyway, it also has an M2 expansion slot, so you can do an SS hard drive, or if you're running Frigate or something like that, you can do an AI accelerator. And it has a Raspberry Pi compute module 4. I ordered one of these things, but it's going to be November 2022 before mine ships, apparently. Johnny, thank you so much for becoming a member of the channel. I thought you were a member of the channel. Maybe not, but welcome. Thank you so much. And I thank you for all my other channel members too. Things when I purchase equipment and things like that, that's where that comes from. In fact, I'm thinking about doing something for a 10K subscriber party or whatever, reaching 10K, doing some sort of giveaway. And that giveaway comes from y'all being channel members and giving me the ability to purchase products or whatever else to be able to give away for that. So no details on that yet. I'm still hashing it out, see how that might work out. It's one of those tricky areas when you start saying, I'm going to give somebody something. How do you do it fairly? Right. So anyway, this is Home Assistant Amber. It's on the Crowd Supply website. You can go over to Crowd Supply and you can put your hat in the ring for getting one of these things. You can buy this. I think it says $149 here. And then if you want extra stuff with like power over Ethernet, for example, or with a power supply, you can buy the different things for it. But I'm looking forward to that. The thing about Zigbee, though, with this is, I've always thinking of Zigbee as one of those networks that you really have to be careful about, because it doesn't go as far as Z-Wave. I don't know. I don't have a lot of Zigbee. I don't have any Zigbee stuff. But this would be my first foray. And if I put a Home Assistant Amber up here on the farthest wall in the house, away from everything else, am I going to be able to reach other equipment on the other side of the house? So having a Zigbee module inside of your actual Home Assistant device is good, except if you have it hidden away somewhere, you're going to figure out how to get, Zigbee signals to other parts of your property or whatever. But it's a cool thing. It's all self-contained and ready to go. You just plug it in and you can start doing stuff with it. And with Zigbee and Matter, all this stuff that starts coming out under that standard will be able to connect to this Home Assistant Amber. All right, that's a lot of time talking about that. Z-Wave JS updates, we're talking about that. S2 is now supported. So it supports S2. It's short for Security 2, and it's a new security standard for Z-Wave devices, providing different keys for each device in the network. So right now, there's a single key, like all my door locks share the same key. My garage door opener shares the same key. This S2 gives everything its own key, so that if somebody gets your security network key or whatever, your Z-Wave network key, they can't get all your stuff, only a specific thing, right? So that's what this is good for. What it says here is it will automatically pick the best and most optimal security method available. And then besides improved security, it also is more reliable, provides greater battery life, and has less latency compared to S0. Let me tell you about latency, and I'm assuming this is what they're talking about. When I lock or unlock a door lock in my house, there is a absolute definite lag in anything else processing on my Z-Wave network. If I push the button, let's say if I come over here, and where's my thing here? If I click on my phone, for example, or any of these things, if I push the button to lock the door, one of these doors, and I come over here and I push a light switch, until that door lock is locked and all of that processes through my Z-Wave network, nothing happens to the light. it could be 10 to 15 seconds before I get a response from the lock and the light changes, because I'm assuming that security that I put on those things is causing that delay. So having something run on S2 with a quicker response, less latency compared to S0, if that's in fact what this is going to do, will be amazing, because then I can push the lock, have it process the security stuff, and then get on to its next task, which is doing a light or something else like that. So that's pretty neat. I haven't actually added anything, nor have I checked to see if this, well, here it says, if you have existing Z-Wave devices capable of S2, you will need to repair. So right now, if I want to use S2 on anything, and I'm going to have to research. I don't want to take my locks out of play and put them back and realize that was not worth it. So the only things I really have, now I take that back. Things that are S2, like door locks and garage openers, are security devices by nature, but there are probably new devices that have S2 built in that will, like your light switches and your temperature sensors and your other Z-Wave devices that you're not even using, you wouldn't think to put security on or include them as a secure device, you can now do with S2, and it'll find those. So you're making a more secure network with this, which is what I was talking about before. Is this is a new thing for Z-Wave, and I think it's kind of cool. And then here's the migration, right? If you're still using Z-Wave, and you're doing that, and they said because it's a whole lot of work to migrate, now you can use a migration wizard for users of the old Z-Wave integration to move to Z-Wave JS. I don't know if you can go from Open Z-Wave Beta to Z-Wave JS with the migration tool, because I went from Z-Wave to Open Z-Wave Beta, and then all of a sudden Z-Wave JS showed up, and I went to that. So I had 3 stops. I don't know if you can get from Open Z-Wave Beta to this. If anyone knows, let me know. All right, so let's just stop for a second here, because I'm just blah, blah, blahing. I connected my CCTV cameras in HA. Camera video is always delayed. Okay, so that is a loaded question, because, and I talked about this in a couple of my Frigate videos, or one of my Frigate videos. It depends on how you're trying to display this. And there's a whole huge multi-page, all day long read on the differences in the protocols of displaying live streams based on different types of protocols. And in Home Assistant, they've never done a good job of displaying stuff real time, which is why I made the whole video on using the web RTC cards and displaying those there. I don't know if that's what you mean by a delay. Now, the newest version of Home Assistant, the the Frigate, which is what I'm talking about, the 0.9 version. And I guess I should ask that. Are you talking about the Frigate stuff you're having a delay, or are you talking about something else in general? So let me know those answers before I go any further with it. But you can't do a, it doesn't display well out of the box in Home Assistant because of the protocols used. And I'm just going to flub it up if I say it's like JPEG isn't doing it or MJPEG isn't doing it for you. RTMP, I never got that to work correctly because I have nothing to play RTMP in, and I just skipped right over to RTSP. And if you look at my feeds here, obviously, I've showed these in the videos. If I click on cameras here, this is an RTSP stream. And you cannot see this probably, but there's a little there's a little WebRTC symbol. This one's still negotiating. Once this drops off, it should negotiate to WebRTC because it's on the local network. And now you see it flipping here. So now both of these are playing WebRTC, and they're in real time. I mean, as real time as you can get. Don't worry about the times. My cameras aren't smart enough to change for daylight savings time, so they think it's an hour earlier, but it's not. These are actually in sync. If something drives down the road here, I'll see it on this little thing over here, and I'll see it over here. To me, this is real time. Now, the problem with this is it's driving this directly or pulling this directly from the camera. So I'm running an RTSP stream directly from the camera into my browser here. But that by far is the best way for me to do this. I haven't found a good way to display this otherwise. Now, if we go, and I'm running version 0.9 of Frigate now. If I go to live view, and I talk about this in the video, if you haven't seen the video that came out this morning on 0.9 of Frigate, don't upgrade before you do, because you'll you'll break your installation or you'll break your configuration. But if I go to something like one of these cameras, I'll just click on this camera and I'm looking at live view. You can see this on this image. You can see how it's grainy. You can see how its frames per second are pretty low. And this is the live feed from the camera. That's the correct time. And now this is displaying natively in Frigate. So this may be the answer to your question. What I don't like about this, as I mentioned in the video, is that this looks to me to be the detect substream of the camera, which is 640 by 480. And then it gets blown up and it looks ugly. It's not the clean, clear version of the full 1280 by 720 HD stream that I get from the camera when I'm doing recordings. I don't know if that's a setting that I missed that I could do that with, or if that's just the way it's going to be, that this is the detect stream. And I'm assuming it's the detect stream because I click on debug. It looks better here because it's smaller. It's not trying to make it, HD stream spread out or an SD stream spread it out so you get a lot of pixelation in there. So I don't know how to get it live here and have a decent looking stream. So that's why I go with the RTSP, and I've created these camera streams. Now I don't stream all 5 of my cameras at once on here because I don't want to overload my bandwidth. I'm also running this over a Wi-Fi link from my garage to my house. And it's not even a Wi-Fi link. It's a kind of I've got a Unify set up. My AP in the garage talks to my AP, my main AP, and the cameras are going across that. So I have 3 streams running 24/7 on my Wi-Fi network in the garage over to the house. And it's the same AP that my regular devices use, which is amazing. Unify is awesome because it still works just fine. Running 3 24/7 camera streams over the Wi-Fi network that I'm using to do everything else on with no noticeable lag on my devices is awesome. But the point is, I don't want to tax it too much. So I only pick the ones I want to show here. So with the streams, that's why I'm going with these streams like this. I'm hoping at some point we can say, okay, in the live feed of the new version of Frigate, can we choose which of one of these streams we want to show as the live? Do we show like the full HD stream, or do we show this 640 by 480, 5 or 10 frames per second slow stream that we're doing here? So that when we're talking about displaying live, this does it now in 0.9. It's just a lower quality. And there's all kinds of arguments on the internet that say, okay, well, why do you need X, Y, or Z? I don't care. Like if I go to bird's eye view, and I'd have to wait for someone to show up here. If I go to bird's eye view and watch my video on this, if somebody walks across this frame, all I care about is like, what are they doing? I don't really need to see that they're wearing, diamond earrings or whatever in their ear, that kind of resolution, right? I just need to see, okay, are they coming over and they bashing my windows in? Are they trying to break in? By the way, that's a bird's eye view, and there's an object detection that just occurred here, and it popped up in the bird's eye view. Let's see here. So now that I've said all that, let's see what we're talking about. So James says Zigbee repeater. Yep, that would be probably something I would need to do. I see a lot of people talk about Zigbee and having issues with signal, and that's one of the things to do is make sure you have a repeater in there. Object detection in the background there. I'm using Wise cameras with Frigate. Using Wise Bridge to generate the RTSP stream from the Wise cameras works great. Yeah, so if you have a way to take multiple, I'm assuming this is what the Wise Bridge does. You just take the RTSP stream from one time from the camera, and then you bridge it out to everything else. That saves you a lot of load on the camera. I haven't had any issues with the cameras doing anything, even in this scenario where I have, and you can look back here, by the way. This is the Frigate bird's eye view. When there's no activity detected, in my case, I have it set to objects. When there's no object detected, it just gives you the bird. Not the bird, the picture of the bird. So there's no activity here. But with the Wise cameras, if you can bridge those RTSP and save on the camera overhead, that's fine too. That's what the RTMP is supposed to be able to do in Frigate. You just create an RTMP, or you bring in a stream, and then Frigate re-encodes it as RTMP and sends it out to a multitude of devices one time. It does use some overhead to do that, though. On Frigate, events label all does not show all events. Oh, really? Let's see. So I just go back to my cameras and I'll just click events on any one of these. All. Now for me, I have a lot of events. Now it does here for me, Valvent, label bicycle shows bicycle events, but not seen in label all. So labels, so I have everything all. Like I can just pick person here. There's no person there. My grill looks like a person or what? Oh, I can see eyeballs. All right, so if I click all, and you're saying this, right, Valvent? You're saying on Frigate, label all does not show all events. I do, but I'm seeing it here. But label bicycle shows bicycle events, but not seen. Okay, so you're saying, I don't even have any, oh, I do have bicycles. Oh, look, I'm carrying bicycles out the door. That's me. I'm not stealing my own bicycles. Kids have a thing called bicycle rodeo at school where they have to learn, they have to demonstrate they can drive in a circle in a straight line and go really slow. So anyway, I'm taking them to go practice. So I've got bicycle selected here, label bicycle. And if I go to all, this was way back when. This was 1014. So 1014, if I go back, good golly, I don't know if I can go back this far. Well, anyway, it shows it. So Valvent, tell me a little bit more about it, because it looks like to me it's working here on this side, but maybe I'm missing something. All right, that is that. So the Frigate thing I wanted to talk about was this, in fact, this event thing here. So what I failed to mention in the video is before on this event view in the previous version prior to 0.9, when I click on an event, it would take me to a screen that would show me the snapshot, and it would show me if you have clips enabled, it would allow you to play the clip. And then when you couldn't go anywhere from there, you'd have to go back to this events. And what was really annoying is if I scroll down, let's say I scroll down to way down here somewhere, and I click on, I want to see this event, and then it pulls it up. And if I try to go into a new tab and just stay right here, then it says it can't find it. It's JavaScripty and other stuff, so it doesn't work. So I would have hit the back button. I would end up at the very top. So this is 1016, right? I go through all these events, and I have to remember in my mind, okay, I want to see the next event below that. I got to go all the way to the bottom and find that event again. Well, now if I click on any one of these events, first of all, it puts the event right here in line with all the rest. So you see now I still have all these other events in here. I can just play the clip directly within this event timeline, and I don't have to worry about trying to figure out, okay, where was I in this whole viewing of whatever. And so now I can just kind of come down here. Oh, I want to take a quick look at what's going on right here. For example, I'm trying to find something that's not going to get me in trouble here. Let's say I want to look at this clip right here. I don't have to scroll back and figure out where I was. And by the way, the person that asked me in YouTube, if you're watching this and you ask, well, what if there's not a face? What if you have object detection set up, person detection, and it doesn't see a face, it only sees legs? This particular image or this particular event was triggered because it saw these people here, and all I see are legs. So anyone walking on the sidewalk here, and it's smart enough to know that these legs walking are people. And so it still records it. So that if you're watching and you're the one that asked me that question, even if you don't see a face necessarily, you're still going to get a trigger of these people because it's smart enough to know that. So that's kind of cool as well. Hey, by the way, keep the questions coming because as I've said on all my live streams, and you're tired of probably hearing it, I do the videos to teach, and then I do the live streams to answer questions as best I can. So make sure you're throwing those questions in the chat as we're going along here. All right, so anyway, that's this. And I think it's really neat that we can just kind of go through all these events here and stay within the event timeline. Of course, you still have the same option to go here and look at the recordings. And you have the whole timeline. I know I'm giving a lot of this away. Go watch the whole video because I go into detail a little bit more on this stuff. But anyway, you have the timeline here where you can look at all this stuff in your timeline as well. And this just deals with this one camera. If you're looking at the event tree, you can look at the event tree as well, or the event listing. Oh, good. So Valvent says it showed up now. So here's one thing I did find, and here's some more about my setup. So I'm running a Frigate on my Home Assistant Blue, and I've got the NVMe card, or NVMe drive, the 128 gig drive in my Blue. That's not nearly enough for me to record my stuff. And let me just show you this cool stuff, because I like showing off things. I'm tracking my drive usage in my Home Assistant, because I was concerned when I started recording the stuff in Frigate how much time or how much space it's going to take. So if I look at, probably not this, nope. If I look at system information, yeah, maybe, yep. So this is a 30-minute average of disk space usage on my Blue. Well, it's climbing pretty good. And I'll tell you why it's climbing here in a minute. If I look at this over time, let's say last 30 days, and I go here, and I'll just blow this up. I'm going to try to. Oh, it does this every time. So I'm trying to click a button here, and it's not letting me do it. Oh, there we go. So look at my disk usage here in my head. So you'll notice every day as what Frigate does is you set a retention policy of how many days or hours, or I guess it's days, you keep certain things. And you can see here how, and it looks like at 4 a.m. is when it cleans it out, maybe, or 5, whatever time this is. Oh, 6:30. Whatever. It cleans out all of your old videos and clips based on the retention. And you'll see here that it goes up and then it drops, and it goes up and then it drops, and it goes up and drops. So it's doing that cycle of cleaning out my drive. But what I've done is I have done the 128 gig, and this is 67% of a terabyte. What I've done is I've added in, or I've used data control, datactl, and we've talked about that before, where I've transferred all of my directories that Home Assistant writes to all the time. I've transferred those over to my external hard drive. Now, yes, you can boot off of some of these. You can boot a Pi off of a drive or whatever. You can do that stuff now. But I'm doing this on my Blue, and all I wanted to do, rather than rebuild my entire setup, is just move the data over to a drive where I can store more stuff. So I have a terabyte Western Digital, just regular spinny hard drive. I don't think it's an SSD. Anyway, I have it in an external case, and it's just plugged into the USB port, and all my heavy duty writing and reading goes through that. What I did notice right away is that it does take a few extra seconds for that to load up any of the clips or events that are in that timeline, because it's going over the USB port now rather than directly to the NVMe that's on the internally to the hardware. So there's a lag there, but it's not enough to really bother me. If I was running an SSD versus that Western Digital drive, it would probably be even faster. So that, think about that when you're doing this kind of stuff. What that does is allows me to record 24/7 and record the stuff. I was recording one camera 24/7, and and then I have enough storage space to do that with Frigate. Here's the thing about it. You'll see here. What happened with Frigate version 0.9 is Frigate records all the time now, because it creates events, or it tags. It's kind of like what Blue Iris does. It kind of tags an event when it occurs, and rather than just recording then, it's always recording. What you do, and you again watch my video on Frigate that was released this morning, you set up a retention policy that actually doesn't save any of the recordings. It only saves the events. And so what this represents here is that I was only recording 24/7 one camera, but during the demonstration and stuff, when I made the video, I left my other camera, one of my other cameras on there. It is now recording 24/7 as well. And I don't remember what the retention policy or how many days that's set for, maybe 10, which means this is just going to fill up. So this helps me to realize that I need to adjust that so I'm not going to run out of disk space on that terabyte drive. by recording 24/7 for 5 days worth of stuff on those 2 cameras. So when you're upgrading to 0.9 of Frigate, you're going to need to make sure you follow along and set those retention policies correctly, or you're going to end up with a drive that's completely full before you know it. So there's some configuration changes on the configuration file, and there's some considerations with how long you want to retain things, if at all. If you're not doing any 24/7 recording, you're going to need to add some information in your config file to not store the 24/7 type recording stuff on your drives. You're going to fill them up. So be careful about that. All right, comments here. Let's see. And so Balvin, that whole thing was to say, look, using data control and having my stuff on the extra drive or the external drive, it does take a couple extra minutes. The other thing is, if you are looking at stuff in real time on Frigate and you're trying to see it in the events, if someone were to drive in front of my camera and trigger a bicycle object event right now, it would not show up until it was finished processing that. So you're not going to see it in real time. It will show up in the bird's eye view. It'll pop up and say, here's an event triggered. It will trigger an event on your sensors, but it's got to process the video or do something with the video before it will show up in real time in the events list. So what I've found I've had to do on the older version of Frigate, and probably this one as well, is if something happens, you'll need to refresh that event screen after, let's say 30 seconds to a minute for it to show up correctly. And I'm going to guess that's what you're talking about, is things don't show up, but once you refresh, they do. Well, you've got to give the system time to actually make the event. It creates a snapshot and does the video or whatever you have, the clip, if that's what you're doing, in that event list. So make sure you give enough time to do that. Let's see. Todd's got a statement here. Home Assistant on iOS has issues playing Frigate clips. They play fine, but you can't go back to the Home Assistant app without closing and reopening app. There has been some discussion on this. I don't have any iOS devices to play with, but I know that was an issue, and there was I thought they had a workaround or something happened, but that is a known thing. I just don't have any information on a solution for it, if it is a solution. But there was something about it leaving it open all the time, and you had to actually close out, what you're talking about. I thought they had fixed that, but maybe not. I know that let's see what else they did in Frigate in version 9. And this live stream, it's okay to talk about Frigate. It wasn't going to be a whole Frigate discussion, but I'm happy to spend as much time as we need to on it. Other fixes here. Okay, that's nothing. Delete nothing. One thing I do notice, a couple of things also in terms of the notifications. I'm using the blueprint for notifications. Watch that video because it's too much to go into here. That still works. I still get the picture on my phone /watch, and I still get the alerts from my blueprint. So that works well even on 0.9. I didn't have to make any changes to the Frigate blueprint that I'm using. This is cool. You can customize timestamps drawn on the snapshots. Dynamic motion detection defaults based on resolution. Okay. I don't see anything here about the iOS issue. Oh, this is cool. I didn't know this. So you can do partial days in your retention settings. So you could save only a half a day's worth of events instead of a whole day. 9.1. We're up to 9.1 now. Fixed logo load for bird's eye view. So there's probably, I know there's stuff out there, and if you look at issues probably in here, there's probably some, and I see iOS suddenly not working 8 days ago. Add audio clips. Yeah, so I'd have to search through some of this stuff to see. One of the things I noticed though on my Frigate stuff is there's no let's just get a bird's eye view while we're talking here, see if anything shows up. There is no I can't play the clips, but there's also issues with incorrect settings for your URL and I haven't even played with it yet. When I get a clip or get an alert, I'm out doing something, I don't have time to troubleshoot it away from the house. So I do notice when I try to play a clip now from the blueprint alerts, I get a 404 not found. There is probably something I need to change in that Frigate or in that blueprint to make it go to the right URL or a setting or something else. I don't know what that is yet. I'll play around with that a little bit more. But so far I haven't been able to play a clip, but I can look at the snapshots that come up on the blueprint that I'm using for alerts. So here we go. It's having the same issue on iOS, updated the latest versions of everything. It seems to be working okay now. So Greg, are you on the latest version of Frigate and iOS stuff, or just the latest version of iOS, etc.? And you know what? Watch this. I'm going to change. It's getting warm up here, so let me see if I can. Well, where's my thermostat? By the way, I got a note from where am I going here? Oh, look, I'm getting some questions. I should probably look at those. Where's that? From Alan Porter. He's the mastermind behind the Nest integration. He said he's added some support for the new generation of Nest cameras that support WebRTC. He's working on the dev build, and so if anyone is able to try it out, let him know if there are any issues with that. Oh, you can't see any of that. Oh, silly. Anyway, he jump in my either get a hold of Alan in either my Discord or one of the Discord. I'm sure he's in multiple servers, but he's added the support for new generation Nest cameras, the ones that use WebRTC. It's in the dev build, so if you are if you're a tinkerer or a bleeding edge dev tester, play with it, and you have those cameras, play with it, and let Alan know if there are any issues with it. Also, I have Nest Protects, which are the smoke carbon monoxide detector dealies, and they're not in there yet. But Alan, and I'm putting him out, putting Alan on the spot here. He said informally he's heard that it's on the roadmap, which would be awesome, because right now all I have are the thermostats for my Nest integration. None of my smoke detectors / carbon monoxide detectors are in there. They don't expose them to the API, so we can't use them for anything. So it'd be great if they actually did something with those. Latest version of Frigate and integration. So Todd, if you're not on the latest version of stuff, upgrade that and try. But again, make sure before you upgrade that you understand the changes in the configuration file. It's not a lot. There are not a lot of big changes, but you do have to make a couple changes, or when you try to start it up, it's going to give you errors. In addition, like I talked about, make sure you understand the 24/7 recording thing. By default, it's going to record 24/7, I believe. So make sure you tell it you don't want to do that if you're not recording 24/7, lest you have disk space issues. Okay, so we talked about this. Tuya is the latest, greatest version. They have support for light switches, and we're back to talking about 10.2021 or 2021.10 version of Home Assistant. Support for light switches, scenes, fans, and climate devices. So covers is currently missing, and the new integration now pushes updates to Home Assistant. So if you ran the Tuya integration previously, you need to set it up from scratch. So if you're running Tuya and you want to do this, you got to start over. It has been entirely rewritten using a different API. The good thing about that is that Home Assistant is, to me, this is, in my mind, this is what I think. Home Assistant is starting to get some recognition with some of the big players in the IoT or automation fields. And with that comes the ability to get even more integration, more, hey, if you break this, you're going to have a ton of people screaming at you. Why don't you, things like when the remote control people turned off the API and it just busted everything. And then there was a large, not a protest, just saying, look, why'd you do that? And then they reversed course. I think home integration or Home Assistant's getting to the point where we have a voice, and I say we collectively, because that's what I run, have a voice in being able to say, look, I want to add your stuff, help us with the integration, and let's get this stuff working so that our, all these people that have this stuff will buy your product, et cetera, whatever. So it's good to see things like Tuya being integrated directly. And it's a different API. Does that mean it's a better one or whatever? I don't know, but it sure means that they're putting the effort into making something for that. If you like the icons, they have 400 new icons, and 75 of them, at least, have been specifically marked for Home Assistant. So if you don't know what this is, in your building dashboard, you probably do, but these are all the different icons where you say MDI : something, or in some cases, I think it's HASOS : but you can specify what it looks like on your different dashboard screens and stuff like that. So here's, I guess, maybe these are pictures for Home Assistant that are available to Home Assistant, but these are kind of cool. So you can specify those 400 new ones. Remember, if you suddenly see an icon disappear that you were using, it may be that it was pulled out, because along with 400 new ones, they've probably deprecated some other ones. So either look for a replacement or pick something new from their new setting. Oh yeah, well, here it says that several icons have been removed or renamed. They will keep working for upcoming 2 releases. So check your warnings in the log files to see if you're about to lose access to one, and go change it before they pull it out in the next 2 releases. ESP Home has encryption now. If you want to talk to your ESP stuff over an encrypted channel, that is available. You'll need at least, ESP Home 2021.9. And the ESP Home updates follow the same versioning scheme as Home Assistant does. So because it's now part of Home Assistant. So you need at least 2021.9, and you have to configure ESP Home device to enable encrypted communications. Read the docs if you want to play with that. So much more stuff going on here. If you have a gas sensor that uses kilowatt hours as a unit of measurement, you can now use that in the energy dashboard. New dev stuff for long-term statistics. New Shelly devices are showing up here. Gen 2 Plus devices. And then it just goes on and on. I don't read all this stuff necessarily. Again, always read your breaking changes, because if you try to upgrade and something stops working, if you try to upgrade, make sure you know that something's going to stop working before you do it. So anyway, there's a whole bunch of breaking changes and stuff listed here. Go through those if you need to. Thanks for that, Bearded. Yeah, I think I think it's amazing to see the iteration over the years that Home Assistant has gone through. There's a lot of folks working on the back end to make this stuff work well. When you I'm trying to say, how am I saying this? It's not a hard word. How come it's not coming out? When you use Nabu Casa, or you subscribe to the Home Assistant Cloud, Nabu Casa, you're actually helping support this effort, because that's how they fund the developers and stuff that work on the Home Assistant core stuff. So Nabu Casa, and also, by the way, this stuff, infrastructure isn't free, right? And so to be able to do things that you do with Nabu Casa, the Home Assistant Cloud, they have to have an infrastructure to support it. And if you remember, not too long ago, they upgraded the Home Assistant Cloud stuff to be more resilient and I guess more responsive, which would equate to bigger and better hardware, potentially better networks, all that costs money, right? So you're helping support that. So as we support Home Assistant via Nabu Casa, they're able to go out and talk to these big players and help them understand that there's an audience out there for their stuff. There's a user base, and the user base needs to have certain things in place for it to work. A good API. Don't take it away 6 months from now. That's always the concern with these cloud-based things. They come and go because someone will spin up a cloud-based service, and for whatever reason, it goes away. And then all of a sudden we have limited access or no access to our stuff. I'm hoping that some of these discussions Home Assistant's having with these big players are, hey, we need a local API so that we can talk to your stuff locally. For what it's worth, I know this is a discussion you all are probably pretty aware of. We don't need to dwell on it too much. All right, what other questions do you all have today? That's Home Assistant 2021.10, which I said I wasn't going to go into much, but as I start talking and talking and talking, then I just keep talking about it. I talked about a little bit about the Frigate stuff, right? What I wanted to just kind of point out in the Frigate NVR was just the event stuff, which I failed to talk about in my latest video. The running Frigate inline display of stuff, like I just showed here. That tree is not a person, by the way. So there is still always, people have asked me, you know, how does this compare to Blue Iris? I think each thing has its place. I'll tell you probably a couple of the biggest things. Oh, and by the way, I was going to turn on my air conditioner. Forgot about that. Let me turn on my air conditioner because it's hot up here. I know it's not that cold outside today, or not hot outside, but the heat of the lamps in my studio are killing me up here. What was I saying? Oh, Blue Iris versus Frigate. So here's one of the biggest points for me on Frigate versus Blue Iris. Number one, Blue Iris has to run on Windows or a VM, Windows VM on something. But it is in my example, I was using a server or computer, and it was running 24/7, and it's a high powered device. It's got pretty heavy duty graphics card, and so I used to use it for some gaming stuff, and it was just running Blue Iris all the time, 24/7. When I went to Frigate with the Coral TPU, by the way, I run it on my Blue. The difference in power consumption between a server running a heavy duty processor with a GPU and everything else in it versus a Home Assistant Blue or even a Raspberry Pi, if you really wanted to dig into it, is substantial. And for me, when I talked about I like having backup power, that computer running Blue Iris is going to run for 15 minutes on my UPS before it shuts down. Maybe not even that long. My Blue, if it has its own backup power, will run longer than I have power to back up the cameras in all the places the cameras run. So then my bottleneck for power becomes powering the cameras, not the actual device doing the recording. And it became very obvious the other night when we had a pretty significant thunderstorm. In fact, I've never seen lightning, so much lightning at one time. The cameras or the power went out 3 or 4 times, and sometimes just pow, off, on, off. I mean, it was just crazy watching. I was watching like the lights on the garage turn on and off and turn on and off. And then, but the cameras kept going because I was running Frigate on the Blue, Home Assistant Blue, which didn't require any power at all from the UPS hardly to run, when I would have probably lost the computer running Blue Iris because it's long. So that's the number one, is just power consumption. It seems to me you need so much more hardware to run Blue Iris than you do to run Frigate. Now, I've never tried anything like running a TPU on Blue Iris or something like that. That would be maybe more power or less power hungry. But just turning the computer on, just use this power because it's got a huge power supply. It's got a GPU in it. It's got big processors. And I don't need all that for Frigate. I don't care so much about the cost of Blue Iris. Blue Iris is a commercial product. It is designed, it's probably used in a lot of cases in big environments, big commercial environments, and you want to have that along with the support that goes with it. So that was never a thing, but it is something to say, okay, I have to pay X dollars per year for Blue Iris to license it and get all the updates versus Frigate, which is open source. So there's that. And I think I talked about some of these things at the end of one of my videos, kind of like Blue Iris versus Home Assistant. Blue Iris is Windows only. Frigate is, Docker container on Linux or whatever else. You can run it on multiple platforms. So there's a lot of those things. I really enjoy Frigate. I've had a lot of success with it, so it's really good. While I'm rambling away here, throw me any other questions you have that you're interested in knowing about. Let me look over here and see. I saw somebody threw something up here. This person's not on my live stream probably. Cannot connect my HIK vision. Oh, you can't see that, can you? Hold on. Where's my thing? So sometimes I don't know the answers to everything, right? So that's where y'all come in and answer these for me. Can't connect my HK Vision DS something. Server return for unauthorized. So this person may or may not be on the live stream. I'm guessing not, since they didn't ask there, but this sounds like a permissions issue, like 100% permissions issue. 401 unauthorized is a permissions issue. So I'm going to tell them that. Unless somebody has a camera like this and they've had this issue, I'm going to call it permission. I don't know where they're connecting from. If they're saying from Home Assist or from Frigate or from a web browser or from VLC, I'm not sure. By the way, if you're trying things, make sure you always go to VLC for the RTSP stream and see if it works there before trying to put it in your config file. Save you a lot of hassle if something's wrong with the actual stream before you try to configure it and determine it's something else. All right. What else do I want to talk about today? Really, I just want to kind of give you all some opportunity to talk about things. I don't know if Dr. Aziz is having a thing today, but usually if he does, it's about this time. I don't want to compete with the Z's. Questions about my dashboards here, questions about anything you've seen pop up. Oh, wow. I wish I had this up just now. There is my camera just picked up a wasp or a bee on the camera in my bird's eye view. Didn't have it up when it happened. Questions, concerns, constructive criticism, anything else y'all want to bring up today before we end the stream here in a little bit? I didn't have any demo stuff today for you. I'm going to be working on the octopus of stuff. Let me figure out what it is here real quick. I will tell you what actually I am putting in as soon as I figure out what it's called. The Emporia. Yep. So I'm going to be working on maybe. I'm gonna add this thing. I got the I think I got the 16 circuit sensor thingy. And when I started the live stream earlier, this is kind of what I was talking about. This octopus of sensors is built into that snap thing automatically, or the span panel, which would be kind of cool. But there is a connector. The only thing I'm concerned about on this Emporia, and I did some research before buying this, is, what happens if their API goes away, or I got to start paying for API access. But I'm gonna put this in my inside panel, and the reason I want to do that is, well, first of all, getting the difference between these clamps and the outside 220 clamps will give me an idea how much stuff is running on the 220 circuits versus the 110 circuits, and then each one of these individual circuits, I might have smart plugs on some of this stuff, but I really don't have power consumption on everything plugged into all those. And since I have my circuit breaker panel fairly well isolated between areas, I can tell which areas are using too much power, and then start building automations off of stuff to tell me if something's happening, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to plug this thing in, build this into the panel, or put it in the panel, and then get everything set up in my Home Assistant for that. And then that should actually show up in my energy portal once I get it all up and running. I haven't played much with the energy stuff since I first put it in. That was a rough day. What happened then? I wonder what day that was. I think the temperature skyrocketed that day before the cold front came in. Anyway, that doesn't look normal either. Lordy. That's a 100 watt. No, that's a 60 watt lamp running an LED bulb. That's probably about 10 kilowatts. Or no, not even that. That's interesting. Let me look at yesterday and see if that's the same. Well, something has definitely gone wrong here. Unless that light has never shuts off ever. Yeah, see, look at that. That is weird. See, this is what I'm talking about. We don't know what our stuff does. Our devices do until we come in here and we look at our energy panel and say, what the heck? So this is something's here. This is one of those little plug in the wall plugs, and it's hooked to a lamp. I mean, it's just a lamp. There's no way that light, unless it's never turned off the entire day, that it's used that much power. I can't imagine it would ever use that much power in one day. I mean, the refrigerators only use a kilowatt, and the lamps use 267 kilowatts. Something is wrong with that. Oh, Z's already had a stream? Okay, good. I don't want to interrupt the king of whatever. The doc. A couple of variables I was talking about were things like, was my medicine cabinet open in the last hour and the current state of my washer? Okay, so look, washing machine. This is how I do the washing machine, and I'm not sure how you're doing your stuff there, but my washing machine, actually, all I'm doing with the washing machine here is looking at. I've got it plugged into one of those power monitoring appliance plugs, and you can see here that I have activity here. Anytime that the washing machine is active, this will turn blue and give me a wattage usage number there. So current state of my washer would be something I would be interested in understanding more. Now, I do have an automation for the washer that I don't necessarily run all the time. If I look at my automations, this is something you can use the text input for, and rather than doing an alert like I do. But under washing machine, I just look to see if the state of that washing machine sensor is off for more than 5 minutes. If it is, then it will send me an alert telling me that the washing machine is done. It sends it to my pushover alerts. You could change this action down here to call a service, and you could actually use, you could write to that deal. I forgot what it's called, but you could write to one of those helpers, and you could, forgot what it's called, but you could just basically update the helper with the state of the washing machine there instead of having it announce it. Now, the only thing I will say, and you'll notice here that this is called sensor washer running. And the reason I do that is because my washing machine display will stay on. I wish it wouldn't do that for me. Come back over here. Give me a second here. Let me find the sensor. I'll show you what I'm talking about. But my washing machine, if the display is on, after it's finished, it's flashing a little light telling me it's time to run a cleaning cycle. So it will never turn off until I've gone over there and acknowledged that cleaning cycle. That happens every 5 or 10 loads or something. So what I have to do is I have to set a sensor to tell me if the value, and I could do these different ways, right? I could set it from greater than or equal to here, but let me find it here in my sensors and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Oops. Okay, I don't know what it's doing here. Just a moment here. Find washer. I'm having a little fit with my Visual Studio Code. Give me a second here. I'm just trying to make sure there's no secret stuff in here before I show it. All right, so in this setup here, I have a sensor. And if the washing machine electric consumed wattage is less than 6%, it's considered to be off and then on. And again, the reason I do that is because the display consumes about 4.8 watts when it's sitting there doing nothing else. It's really ridiculous, but it does. And so I can't consider the washing machine to be finished if the display is the only thing on. So anything running higher than, and that's why there's a 5-minute delay. If it's doing anything greater than 5 watts, it'll be considered on, and then it resets its timer. But again, you could take that setting, James, and you can put that, and you can put that in here. Yeah, so, okay, so you are writing helpers for that. A statistics card for my medicine cabinet. One of the things I did in Grafana, and you can do this in any, it's the same thing, right? Statistics card is Grafana does what now statistics, I can't even say that word, the stats card is doing for you. A similar thing that I do here is for motion. And you can do this with your medicine cabinet card or whatever. Gosh, I wish I could click on these things. It's kind of hard to see it, but let's just zoom in here a little bit. So all of these little marks here are when they were motion on the different things. And you could actually graph, and you're probably doing this, like you said, with a statistics card. you could graph, when the medicine cabinet was opened and closed based on the values you get from the sensor there, like a door sensor or something else. So it sounds like you're doing all right, James. I'm just curious if you say you're having some sort of issue with that, or if there's a better way. If you're looking to see if it's open the last hour, you might have to write a little YAML or something with that to create a sensor, or in your automations, you say, okay, did my state change in the last X minutes? And you would always be 0. And then if it changes within the last hour, last 60 minutes, it would, change to 1, or, it would flip the logic there to do that. There I can see a bunch of different ways to display that or figure that out. If you want to go into specifics or kind of tell me, what other stuff you're doing there that you might be having an issue with, then jump in Discord and we'll talk about it here when I have a moment to do that. All right. What else do we want to talk about today? Is there anything else going on? It's fall here. What is my day job? So a little bit of history about me is I'm a tinker or tech guy. So I started an ISP. I worked for a company that started an ISP years and years ago, back in the dial-up days. And I learned all about networking, telco, routers, servers, email services, radius, and they're also a paging company. So we did paging, serial over internet. I mean, all of RF stuff, radio related stuff. I did all that for a lot of years. And then I moved to a completely different career for a little bit. And I did that for a little bit, but it was non-technology related. But while I was in that career, I wrote some software that those people used while I was doing that work. That wasn't my job, but it was a thing I did on the side. And then technology's always been kind of my passion. And so I started working for another company that I was a Linux system administrator, and then a support engineer and all that kind of stuff. So I've been doing Linux admin stuff for a lot of years. Of course, with Linux admin comes a lot of scripting work. Airline pilot. No, but that would have been fun. And so I did a lot of scripting work. And so I still do a lot of like one-off coding work. But my primary job is more of kind of a program project management stuff at the moment. That's what I do, but I play along with this stuff. Yeah, Johnny has some really cool stuff. I don't know if Johnny, maybe we need to have like a live stream together or something where you can show off that stuff. I want to show off some of the stuff that you're doing. IT pilot. Yeah. But I fly, I have a pilot's license, not a commercial pilot's license, but I do have a pilot's license, and I've done a lot of, I do a lot of sim time. X-plane is my thing right now. In X-plane, I can fly the single engine Cessnas and those kind of planes. My favorite plane right now, my non-passenger plane, or what a small passenger plane is, the Embraer Legacy, the 300. I fly that jet. I fly the TBM 900 series. Those are two of my like GA type planes. I enjoy those a lot. And I like flying the 737, especially the Zibo modded 737 and X-plane, because for me, being a licensed pilot or being a pilot, I don't do it just for the pure entertainment value. I do it to make sure I'm keeping up with my training as much as I can, right? If I'm not out flying real planes, I want to be able to do it the right way. I'm not a commercial 737 pilot, but you have to go through all the steps to get the plane flying. The startup procedures, the programming of the flight management computer, the charts and the SIDS and stars and the ATC procedures and all that stuff. It's all realistic. I use Navigraph for my charts, SimBrief for creating my flight plans, all the tools, right? So no, I'm not a pilot, but you wouldn't think I would be one by all the stuff I play with. So yeah, that's not my job at all, but it is a lot of fun to play pilot and fly stuff. Are LEDs pink, Johnny? That's what Peter is asking you. I think we should have, and Johnny, maybe I'll talk to you offline about this. Maybe we should showcase some of your stuff on one of these live streams, because you've got a lot of those cool boards and stuff you're building that I would love to play with. Maybe you could send me one and I'll show it on the stream, make a video about it. It's really cool. I like the stuff that you're playing with, Johnny. All right. We got about a couple more minutes. I'll take any last minute questions. Again, these live streams are just kind of all over the place. I like to just kind of wing it or off the cuff, as you might have heard other people say, just to not be roped into an agenda, but just be able to talk about stuff all over, and answer questions and things like that. By the way, we're talking about these LED things. My first foray into smart bulbs, like I have that cool KUHL lamp. You probably saw that on one of my boards here. This office tablet thing, KAUF, KAUF bulb. Some of y'all have said you had lots of these things around. I think it's really cool. It's my first one. It actually lights up the area behind my monitor. I have a light over my, by the way, how's the raccoon face looking today? We went to an outdoor competition yesterday and no sunscreen. That was great. I have a lamp behind me that reflects off of my screens here. So I turn it off and turn my KAUF bulb behind the monitor on. Kind of like backlighting LEDs like y'all do. Some of y'all do. But the KAUF bulb's been pretty awesome. I need to flash it with Tasmota and see how that works. Anyway, I really appreciate it. All you watching today. If anybody doesn't have any other questions, I'll give it about 30 seconds because that's the lag time for these streams. Bearded Tinkerer and others, I appreciate y'all watching. I feel a little what's the word I'm looking for? Like I need to do it all right. I look up in awe at Bearded Tinkerer and some of the other folks like that, and make sure I'm saying things that are just not totally out there. But anyway, I appreciate everyone watching. I love doing the live streams. I apologize that they haven't been as often as I would like to do them. Just there's a lot of stuff obviously going on with family and things, and I want to make sure that I keep the family happy so that I continue to at least make the recorded videos and not cause a lot of issues there. And they do support me. I really appreciate their support as well. I have to say that I've been really blessed with the ability to be able to do this stuff and getting the time to do it. So with that, I thank you all for watching today. If you have any questions that I didn't answer here, always throw up. One final question. Did I watch? I did not, but I am not allowed to have indoor cameras. There are some compromises you make in life, and that is one of the compromises. As much as I would love to be able to, and as much as I say those cameras are only active whenever I'm gone and the alarm's armed, doesn't help, but yeah. Thanks, Bearded Tinker. I really appreciate that. We all should have like some sort of like collaboration. How about like smart home? Who is it that does the podcast or whatever? We should all get on there and just have a big round table. That'd be fun. Maybe all of us should just get together and build a round table or have a quick round table and talk about just whatever. I think those would be fun. I did not watch Linus' video on that. Linus has been in the business for quite a long time, and it's funny. And he's a smart guy, and he'll have no issues with this stuff. But I think it's funny that he's getting into this world that we've been playing along for a long time. I would like him to ask some of us to jump on his live streams or whatever, or his stuff to kind of talk about all the stuff we've done for years. But I have not. Now I need to go watch his live stream and see what it does. You do have beard. Yep. And if you ever been a Linux admin, the smarts, the knowledge is in the beard. That's where all the smarts comes from if you're a Linux system admin, by the way. Yes, Todd, just exactly like that. The Smart Home Collaborative Podcast. I think some of y'all have been on I think some folks have been on it from here. I haven't. I need to be invited. Let's put something together, y'all. Let's make a live stream, and then we'll Linus on HA Noob. That's kind of what I was thinking. The guy makes so many videos. I don't have time to watch all his videos. There's just too much going on, but he does good. I mean, he's got a full staff of people. He does. I think his whole company does like 15 videos a week. So in different channels. But I mean, you got to give him credit for building an empire. I think it's funny too that he's jumping into the home automation stuff now and doing all this stuff. I need to watch more of his stuff and see how he's actually coming along. All right, I'm going to go down and do some stuff. I think tonight I'm going to make some stuff on a grill, cook some food on a grill tonight. So it's a nice fall evening to do that and do some family time. Again, I appreciate you all spending some time with me this afternoon. I really appreciate you watching, subscribing. I appreciate the channel members and all the support that you all have given me over the couple of years that I've been doing this. By the way, not to what did Jeff say? It's cliche, but I'm at like 8.7 or 8.8K. I would love to get to 10,000 subscribers. So tell your friends and family, push that button. And then maybe we'll do a little giveaway or something at 10,000 just for fun. Jeff's supposed to do a Halloween stream at 5,000, which he's there now. So I think Twitter said he had to do it. So now if I say this, I have to do a giveaway stream for 10,000. I don't know what people even want to have as a product. So, yeah, I want to buy a new house just so I can do that. I want to buy a new house and then I can home automate it from the start. Wires everywhere. AC fan dimmer. Yes, the Zeus switch. It's a combination fan and light dimmer. The Zeus is starting to build their own hub. I don't know how I feel about that. Somewhere in here, I saw it. I saw it in here. I don't know where it is and whether it's public or not. Well, it's public because it came to me, but they had something where they are building or getting ready to ship out a combination fan light thing. And I bet I know where I could find that link. Hang on just a second here. Let me see if I can find it real fast for you. But it's a combo light and fan deal. My brother has a lot of the, here it is. Let me see if this is it. The Zen 30 double switch is officially generated, include a dimmer and a relay. So I guess this would be able to do, it's a dimmer and a relay. I guess it's a light switch and a dimmer. Oh wait, get local Z-Wave control for your fan light combos. So that might be, I don't see it on their product list yet on their website, but it looks like they are getting ready to launch it maybe. I bought parts for Vora instead of house. You're welcome, Greg. Thanks for watching. And thanks, NR. Just to hubs, all hubs, floor to ceiling. It was on that page, the Zen 30. Let me find it again real quick. Switches. The Zen 30. It's got to have the 3 little dots. This? Yeah, this one's it. The double switch. So this is supposedly it, according to that tweet. Perfect lighting to your room, automate fans, lighting, and switch outlets, scene controller, smart bulb switch. It's Z-Wave, and it should be compatible with any Z-Wave hub, I would think. As long as the Z-Wave hub has the, what's it called? The, not classification. You've got to have the stuff in the Z-Wave protocol on the device. But anyway, this is probably what I would look at. I have Zeus stuff and I really like it. This looks like it might be pretty awesome too. Inovelli has one as well. Any alternates? I don't know. Because I don't have, my fans and my lights are separate. So I haven't played with it. My brother has one, but I can't remember what he is using. But I think he has some Inovelli stuff as well. Do I do much with holiday lighting? No, thanks. Yeah, I climb on the roof and I put it up. So, oh, you don't get speed control of the fan? Well, that sucks. I need speed control on my fan stuff. I would have to have that. There is some stuff out there. I just don't know where it is. In terms of holiday lighting, I haven't. I would like to do the stuff that Quindor and Dr. Z's is doing. If you really want to get into that stuff, watch their stuff, because they're building and selling some of that. My brother bought all that stuff where you buy the tracks and you put the LEDs in the tracks and mount that to your house. I want that, because then you can do all kinds of stuff with that. But I would check out Dr. Z's stuff. He has a lot of WLED. It seems to be like his big thing right now. So check out him and Quindor, which you can find Quindor's information off of Dr. Z's videos, I think. His name is Quindor, or he is Quindor, but I don't exactly know what his channel is, if he has one. You have 3 of what, Brian? Oh, deleted. It's gone. That was weird. That don't happen to Brian. I'm not scared. Sorry, Brian. I don't know what it's doing. Nightbot seems to get a little aggressive sometimes. But whatever you have 3 of, I guess it didn't like you posting something. Hobbit hole. Yeah, he's building that hole in the ground. That Hobbit house is interesting. All right, folks, I've got to jump off. I'm going to go do some other stuff. I really, again, appreciate y'all, and I really like the interaction. Keep it coming. Keep it up on Discord if you have other stuff. I will respond to those as I can, and other folks can respond there as well for questions that I can't answer. Y'all have a great rest of your weekend. What's left of it. Some of you, it's nighttime. It's time to go to bed already. For others, it's afternoon. Enjoy your afternoon, etc. And thank you so much for watching, and we will see you on the videos and the other stuff. Watch my Frigate 0.9 video that I just dropped this morning too, if you get a chance. And we will see you later. Thanks.